my name is Kenneth Liang, and here's my submission for EECS 111's main project. Okay, so here's my code and my setup. My pump over there, water supply, and my moisture sensor is hidden a little bit down there, and I have my wires over here, and the water supply goes through here. So let's run it. That's watering the plant. For my main code, I have my graphing function here. I have my 0 to 1 scale over here, and my while loop that runs if it's greater than 2.65, and it goes through the if statement, which runs if it's greater than 2.65, which is the dry value. It reads that code. If it doesn't read that code, then it goes through the else if statement. If it's in between these values, then it runs, and it returns that it's almost done watering. If it's below the saturated value, that means it's saturated and it's done watering. So for my first function, I have a 0 to 1 scale, which takes in a voltage and passes it through some code, where it will be returned as a ratio rather than in voltages, so it's easier to read for the reader. For my second function, I have a graphing function, which calls for an animated graph. It will have the titles, it will have the X labels, and it will have the Y labels and the legend. And it will take in the max and minimum value of the Y-axis, depending on what the user wants. So for my flowchart, first we'll initialize the code where we run it. We'll run it through the while statement, and if it is completely dry, which is around 6.65 or below, we won't start it. If it's over that, we'll run it through and ask if it's dry. If it's dry, we'll turn the pump on, give the response, delay it, and then turn the pump off, run it through, update the values, and run it through the while loop again. If it's not completely dry, and if it is a little bit saturated, it'll be the pump on, we'll give the response, we'll delay, and then turn the pump off, and then we'll run it back through, update the values, and run the while loop again. If it's not a little bit wet, then that means it's saturated, which means we'll turn the pump off, run it through, and give the response back to the while loop.